Hey, Mia. Today is the day you're going to come and do our housework, isn't it? What do you mean you can't just because you have to work overtime? Since you married Oliver, your duty is to take care of your mother-in-law. And I'm saying it's your job to do our housework every day.
I'm sorry, Amelia. I'm afraid I'm going to have to work overtime for a few more days. I'm sure things will get easier after that.
Huh? You're still saying that? I don't think you're capable of taking care of Oliver either. Are you even doing housework at your place?
Well, half of the time Oliver helps me. He's better at housework than I am, probably because he lived alone for a long time.
That's not the point. A wife is supposed to take care of the house. No matter how good Oliver is at housework, it's a big mistake to ask him to do it. If this is what it's come to, I should never have let you marry him. I feel so sorry for him. And you're neglecting your mother-in-law.
That's not true. After the overtime period is over, I'll definitely go do some housework, so please wait just a little longer.
Well, you're not going to be any use to me when you get here anyway.
Please don't say that, Amelia.
By the way, you are free 2 weeks later, right?
Oh, about me giving you a ride? Yes, I've got it in my schedule. I'm also taking a paid holiday, so I'm fine.
I have to keep reminding you since you're not a reliable person at all.
I'm sorry, but I'll be there that day.
Instead of apologizing, you should rethink your life. I told you to quit your job when you got married. There is no way someone as clumsy as you can manage both work and housework. This is the kind of sloppy thing that happens when you don't listen to your mother-in-law.
Yes, I will try my best to be the kind of wife you want me to.
Mia, what's going on? I heard from Oliver that you went back to your parents' house. You're supposed to give me a ride, remember? Don't tell me you've forgotten about it.
Good morning, Amelia.
This is no time for greetings. Have you forgotten your promise to me?
As you probably heard from Oliver, my mother is in a critical condition. The situation is very unpredictable. I'm sorry, but could you please use a cab for the ride? It was so sudden, so I'll pay for the cab fee. But I would like to stay with my mother for the time being.
What are you talking about?
What?
Who told you that you could break the promise with me and go home? Since you came to marry into my family, what I say is absolute. But what are you doing? I don't care about your mother.
But my mother is in a critical condition, and I don't know whether she can make it or not.
So?
Huh?
That's none of my business. What does your mother's critical condition have to do with you breaking your promise with me? Don't make me say it over and over again. You are my daughter-in-law. Come home now.
But
I guess you didn't come back after all. Mia, what are you doing? How dare you disobey me?
Amelia, my mother passed away a few minutes ago.
What? I'm sorry to hear that. Then you don't have to keep her company anymore, do you?
What?
Your mother already went to heaven, didn't she? So come back. You'll be back in time to give me a ride.
Are you serious?
Of course.
How heartless. Tomorrow is the wake, and the day after tomorrow is the funeral, so I can't.
Of course you can. I don't care about your mother's funeral. Golfing with my daughter is my top priority.
That's terrible. Since Sarah is there, why don't you ask her to pick you up? I'm sure she will take care of it.
What? You want my daughter to drive that far? Are you kidding me? If you come back now, you'll make it in plenty of time, so come back now.
I have my mother's funeral.
The funeral will go on without you. You have relatives there, don't you?
What kind of a person are you? You're going to play golf without attending my mother's funeral?
Of course I am. I've been looking forward to it for a month. My daughter Sarah must be looking forward to it too.
I have a lot of things to discuss with the hospital, so I will leave now.
Wait a minute. We're not done talking yet. Hey Mia, I'm on my way. Are you okay?
Hi, Oliver. I'm feeling tense right now, but I'm okay. My relatives came early and they're all helping me.
Right, well, give my regards to everyone. I'll hurry.
Anyway, about Amelia.
What's wrong? Did she do something?
It's just that I've been asked to pick her up on the day of the funeral.
Pick her up?
Yeah, she was going golfing with Sarah.
Huh? She asked you to take her to and from golf? What is she thinking? She must be out of her mind.
So she told me to come back. She said the funeral can go on without me.
That's insane. I'm disappointed in my own mother. Why does she have to be so heartless?
Maybe she misses you?
Huh?
I think she feels like I stole you from her. When we got married, she said, "You're taking away my son from me."
That's what she said to you? Why didn't you tell me?
Because I think I understand how she feels.
But this is a different story. How can she ask you to cancel your mother's funeral? How can she do such a thing? I can't believe that she can be so heartless. I have to think about my relationship with her. After the funeral is over, the harassment will surely continue. You don't have to listen to anything my mother says, okay?
Yeah, of course I'm going to attend my mother's funeral, but I'm worried about her.
I'll take care of my mom. In the meantime, I'll try to contact my sister. You don't have to worry about anything. Just think about your mother.
Thank you.
Mia, what do you think you're doing? I told you to come back immediately. I have a limit, so you better come back now. If you're going to leave me alone any longer, I've got some ideas of my own. I'll have to consider you divorcing Oliver. Tomorrow is my long-awaited golf day. You should come back no matter what. You got that?
It's going to be one hell of a golf day.
What? How dare you finally reply to me like that? You better watch your mouth. Hey, Mia, you finally didn't come back. Does this mean you're divorcing Oliver? How can you put your mother's funeral before your mother-in-law? That's unforgivable. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Huh?
Oliver has always been there for my mother. He's a really kind person. He said you're ruthless.
What on earth are you talking about?
I told him the truth, that you said you didn't care about my mother's funeral, and I was told to give you a ride so you can go golfing that day.
Why did you say such unnecessary things? Doesn't that make me the bad guy?
In the first place, my mother passed away. Not showing up and going out to play golf on the day of the funeral itself is unbelievable, isn't it? Shouldn't there be at least a message or something?
What are you talking about? There is no way I would do that for a mother of useless daughter-in-law. Frankly, I don't care about you or your mother. I'm happy as long as Oliver is around and I can go golfing with Sarah from time to time. My happiness doesn't need you.
I see. I'm so sorry you feel that way.
Hey, Mother? Huh? Oliver, is it you? I've been watching all the text right now. What? How dare you do such a terrible thing to Mia? It's the first time I've learned that my mother has been bullying her. What are you thinking? Did she say that? She said such a thing? She has been doing exactly what you told her to do without saying a word until now. You're my mother, and she didn't want to make the relationship worse. You took advantage of her kindness. I won't forgive you. Oh, no. All I wanted was for Mia to be aware of herself as a wife. I was just educating her. Is it education to not allow Mia to return home when her mother is in critical condition? Is it education to not allow her to see her mother's final days? Is it also education to not allow her to attend the funeral? Well, what kind of education is that? That's the worst kind of education. I'm really disappointed in you. It's unbelievable that you were going to play golf on the day of her mother's funeral. I promised Sarah a long time ago. Sarah said she was forced to play golf with you. Huh? She said she turned you down once because she didn't feel comfortable going golfing with Mia as your private driver. But you were too insistent, so she said yes, with the intention of switching driving duties with Mia. Did you talk to Sarah? She's here right now. What? Why is she there? She was supposed to go golfing with me. Why? You're really crazy. She rushed here when she heard Mia's mother passed away. Mia's always been so kind to Sarah. She said she can't just ignore the fact that her sister-in-law's mother passed away. She says it's crazy of you to try to go golfing on a day like this. Huh? Sarah said that? Why would she take Mia's side? She's my daughter. It's not a matter of who's taking whose side, is it? A person passed away. Sarah's normal. You can't just go golfing with someone who's grieving the loss of someone close to them, can you? Oh, no. I was looking forward to it. You can go golfing anytime you want. Why do you have to take Mia to be your driver on the day of her mother's funeral? You're crazy. You have no right to take away my fun. Then you go alone. Huh? You were looking forward to it. Then go by yourself. You want me to go alone? You want me to go by myself without a ride home? If you have the energy to bully her that much, you should be fine. Go call a cab and go by yourself. Sarah and I will attend the funeral. Oh, no. Why are you taking away my fun? I don't care. Suit yourself. Mia, what's all this about? Because of you, something terrible happened.
What is it?
Don't play dumb. I've been broken off the relationship with Oliver and Sarah. They think I'm a cold, heartless mother, so they're leaving me.
I agree. And I'm going to break off the relationship with you too.
Huh?
Isn't it natural? You told me you don't care about my mother's funeral. Do you think I can forgive you? I probably won't be able to forgive you for the rest of my life. My precious mother's life was disrespected, and on top of that, you disrespected her funeral. Please stop harassing me or my family.
Mia?
Until now, I have tried my best to be your daughter-in-law. Of course, I'm sure there were things I did not do well, but I wanted to get along with you. But it never worked out, or you never intended to accept me at all. Since my husband has left you, I will not associate with you as a daughter-in-law anymore.
Do you really think you can be that cocky in your position as a daughter-in-law?
I am no longer your daughter-in-law because I have nothing to do with you anymore. Besides, I've had enough of your harassment. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Wait a minute, Mia! Hi, Mia. It's been a while. It's been 2 months since your mother passed away. Are you okay now? Are you back to work already? I wanted to apologize to you. Please, could you write back to me?
What is it? I don't think we should be talking anymore. You and I are strangers.
Don't be so cold. I'm sincerely sorry for my behavior.
Huh?
I was just saying selfish things without considering your feelings.
I think it's too late for you to realize that.
I've always felt like you stole Oliver from me, and I've been lonely. I was jealous. That's why I've been so cold to you. I'm really sorry.
So?
I'm living a lonelier life now that my son, my daughter, and you have broken off the relationship with me.
I'm sure you are, but it has nothing to do with me.
Could you please forgive me without saying that? From now on, I will take care of you. So I need you to convince my son and daughter to come back.
Don't be silly. How selfish can you be? You tried to sever my relationship with my mother forever. If I had listened to you, I could never have said goodbye to my mother. And how could you say such a thing?
I'm really sorry. I sincerely regret my thoughtless behavior.
Just because you're a family, there are things you can do and things you can't do. People like you who can't even judge such things, I don't think Oliver or Sarah would forgive a person like you. As long as those two have no intention of getting back to you, I have no intention of getting back to you either.
Oh no.
I know you are sad, but you can't do anything about it because it was all your fault. Please think that you have been punished for your behavior and do your best to live your life alone.
Mia, please don't say that. My son and daughter are refusing to even listen to me. You are the only one I can ask. You must convince my son and daughter. Please.
I refuse. After my mother's funeral, I told you I would never forgive you. Have you forgotten? If you want to convince them, you can do it yourself.
Mia, don't say that. I'm so lonely.
You can't ask me. I'm a stranger. I have nothing to do with you. I will block your contact information just like Oliver and Sarah did. Please don't think of relying on me in the future.
Don't do such a terrible thing, please.
Please think carefully about who is the one who did the terrible thing. Now I'll leave you alone.
Wait for me, please. I don't want to be lonely anymore. Please help me.
After that, Amelia was left all alone and was forced to live a difficult life both mentally and financially. No wonder, because she used to ask me for some money when her pension ran out. Mentally and financially, she would have liked to ask for help from Oliver and Sarah. But it seems that the two of them will not listen to her. According to her relatives, she has turned completely depressed and she has aged very quickly. I feel sorry for her, but I am not ready to forgive her yet either. Oliver and I are getting along just as well as ever. Now that the wife snatching is gone, I too am enjoying a stress-free and happy life. I also see Sarah on a regular basis and have dinner and tea together. We enjoy chatting. I wonder if one day Amelia will be included in this family.
Hey Heather, I just finished work and I'm about to leave. Oh, so hot today. Oh, I feel extra exhausted. What are you having for supper today?
Hey John, I'm so sorry. Do you mind picking something up for yourself tonight? I couldn't prepare anything.
Why?
My morning sickness is really bad and I can't cook anything. I feel sick just by the smell of food.
Seriously? Ugh, so tired today, so I was hoping I'd come straight home.
I'm sorry, but I really don't feel well enough to cook today. I hope you do understand. Do you want me to order something for delivery?
Delivery? Isn't morning sickness similar to car sickness? You should be able to prepare a meal at least.
I told you that I can't. Like I said, it makes me want to throw up just by smelling the food. And it feels a lot worse than car sickness.
But it's not like that's a real sickness. Yeah, I think it was all in your head and you're just lacking willpower.
It's nothing willpower can solve, John. Either way, It would be great help if you could deal with your supper yourself for tonight. You don't have to worry about me.
You can't even prepare dinner for your hard-working husband. If you already can't deal with morning sickness, I can only imagine what else you won't be able to deal with.
I don't think you understand how this feels. It's really tough for some people.
How are you going to go through labor if you're so weak? My mom told me she had morning sickness too and she was pregnant, but she said it wasn't anything she can't bear. You just lack fortitude. You could maybe learn a thing or two from my mom.
Symptoms for pregnancy are different for everyone. And I happen to have a very bad morning sickness. You do know that even the level of pain for labor varies depending on a person, right? Some people even say that their morning sickness is different from when they had their first child and when they had their second child. It doesn't really mean much to compare my case with your mom's.
Well, but it's not like anything is wrong with you. It's in the same category as car sickness or motion sickness. But use that as an excuse to be lazy and slack off all day every day. Stop being a couch potato and do your job.
How am I supposed to do house chores when I can't even get up without throwing up? I'm not doing my job because I'm lazy. I haven't even been able to eat much because of this. It's causing me to have anemia too, and I'd say this is as real of a sickness as other sicknesses.
Don't be absurd. Being pregnant isn't a sickness. Then you feel bad for real sick people by saying such a thing? Don't put yourself on the same stage as people battling with real sicknesses.
I'm battling with my sickness too.
Oh, come on, Heather. What in the world are you battling with?
So many different things, John. Being pregnant is not as easy as you think, you know. You go through morning sickness, you're bloated all the time, and you get constipated all the time too. There are so many food restrictions too. Like I can't even have any raw food, caffeine. It must be nice to be you. You can drink beer every day, eat whatever you want, and don't even have to worry about being sick the next day.
I deserve all those things because I work hard every day.
Carrying a child and giving birth is just as hard work as your job. It's something that you can't do.
Oh yeah, but simply because it's biologically impossible. Giving birth to a baby doesn't put food on the table like my job. You could at least do simple house chores while you're sitting at home.
That's what I'm trying to tell you this whole time. Why can you understand that there are times that I'm not even feeling well enough to do simple house chores either way? I won't be able to cook anything for you tonight. I'm not feeling well, so I'm going to bed now. John, let me inside the house. Hey, what are you thinking locking me out like this? How could you do this to me?
Shut up. Stay outside where you belong. I made sure and locked all the doors and windows.
Why are you doing this? You know that there's a hurricane coming today, right? The rain and the wind are really bad already. You must be able to see that from the window.
Yeah, I know. So what?
I'm soaked and cold to the core. Please let me in. I'm going to catch a cold otherwise.
No, this is your punishment. For you being so lazy all the time and not doing any house chores. You need to pay for your actions.
I wasn't being lazy. I was resting because I wasn't feeling well. I told you my morning sickness is really bad.
Don't use your morning sickness as an excuse. There's no one in the world that stays sick in bed from a mere morning sickness.
There is, right in front of you. Clearly you've only known your mother's case. It really depends on the person on how bad it is. What your mom experienced isn't everyone's experience, you know?
I don't need to hear about any other cases to know. It's easy to imagine. Like I said before, being pregnant isn't a sickness, and I shouldn't have to cater to you at all. How many times do I have to remind you of that?
I told you every time that I feel just as sick as the real sickness. Why don't you get it? Being pregnant isn't a walk in the park like you make it out to be. I'm risking my life to do this.
Risking your life, you say? This is the 21st century, for Pete's sake. Do you not realize how much medicine has advanced in the last few hundred years? They say there's hardly any risk for mothers anymore.
What do you need to realize is that even with today's advanced medicine, there are still people who die from labor. Doesn't that mean I'm risking my life for this? And aren't I the only one between us that has to go through that risk? I'm growing a whole person inside me. Of course it's hard on the body.
And that gives you the right to slack off on your job as a housewife, even though I'm working hard every day. You mind explaining to me how that's fair?
You make it sound like I'm doing nothing. It's true that I need some more rest times, but other times I'm doing my job, aren't I?
It seemed like you're mostly resting whenever I was watching, especially cooking. I feel like I'm always eating out or have to order takeout recently.
I can bring myself to do other chores, but I really can't cook right now. Just the smell of it makes me throw up. I told you about this so many times. Or are you insinuating that I should cook while throwing up?
You keep saying you would throw up. What about you aren't really throwing up? Stop being so easy on yourself when you aren't even really sick.
Are you accusing me of lying about this? Why would I lie? Why would you even think that? Shouldn't you trust your wife?
How can I trust a wife who doesn't do her job at all? I locked you out so that you learn your lesson, but it looks like you need more time out there. Stay there in the rain and think about what it is you've done.
This is enough. Please let me inside. It can't be good for the child or for me to be out in the cold for so long. Don't you care about the baby's well-being?
I've had enough of your nonsense. Stop using the baby for every excuse. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you get special treatment just because you're pregnant.
I'm not. I'm just telling you the facts. It's really bad for the baby if I'm out in the cold too long like this. Thinking that you don't care what happens to my body is the same thing as thinking that you don't care what happens to the baby. And I don't think you want anything to happen to the baby. Am I wrong?
There's no way there'll be any effect on the baby from you being in the rain for a bit. The baby is protected by your insulated fat and meat wool anyways.
I can't believe you. What are you going to do if I catch cold? Pregnant women can't just take any available medicine. What are you going to do if anything happens to me?
Don't be such a baby. Even if you catch a cold, all you need is a good night's sleep. You over-exaggerate everything, Heather. Man up a bit, will you? Anyways, I'm not letting you in until I see that you've learned your lesson. Why don't you think of this as training for becoming a better self?
You're the worst. Do you even realize how badly you're behaving?
How's it coming? Have you learned your lesson by now?
Do you know how many hours have passed? Even the hurricane has come and gone.
Yeah, you must be exhausted. But well, you needed some time to reflect on yourself. Now, do you know what happens when you neglect your job as a housewife just because you are pregnant? You can come home if you've learned your lesson and you are sorry.
Why should I be sorry? What are you doing is wrong in every way.
What? You are not sorry? Are you kidding me? I guess someone wants to stay out all night? I'm not going to lock the door then. Are you saying you're okay with that?
I don't care because I'm not coming home. You can do whatever you want.
What do you mean?
I'm never going back there ever again. I'm back in my parents' house now, and I will have the baby here with them.
You're with your parents? Are you telling me that you weren't reflecting on your actions outside?
I'm not stupid enough to stay outside in a hurricane, John. I'm with my parents. I call them to come pick me.
What the heck are you doing? This just proves that you haven't learned anything and aren't even sorry.
I told you that I'm not sorry, and that's not the issue here. I had to go to the emergency room. Do you know what you've done?
What, emergency?
Yeah, I got a fever of 102.2 Fahrenheit, and I had to be admitted to the hospital right away. They said that there might be some complications since my body is in a weak state. They said I might be infected by a bacteria or virus. What if that's true? That's going to have an effect on the baby for sure. The baby and I are connected.
There's no way you have that high of a fever. You forget that it's July right now.
It's more difficult not to catch a cold when you get exposed to the rain outside for hours, even if it's summer. It was already dark out too, and my body was cold to the core.
It's still hard to believe that the mere rain would cause a high fever.
It doesn't matter if you believe it. It's the fact I couldn't stop shaking even when my parents finally came and rescued me.
Seriously?
My parents are furious with you, especially my dad. He says he can't trust a man who puts his wife and his baby in danger.
Well, it's not like I purposefully caused you to have a high fever.
I don't think you fully understand how serious of a deal pregnancy is.
I do understand.
No, you don't. You couldn't have possibly done what you did to me if you really understood what being pregnant is like. My parents couldn't even believe me at first when I told them about what happened, because it's so different from how my dad acted when my mom was pregnant.
How so? What did your dad do so differently?
My mom had pretty bad morning sicknesses too. Seeing that, my dad realized that pregnancy is really hard on her body and that she's risking her life to have their baby. So he started doing all the house chores and supported her throughout her pregnancy. Even after I was born, he was just as involved in child raising as my mom, if not more. He never told mom that she was slacking off or accused her for being lazy when she was suffering from her morning sickness.
Doesn't that simply mean that your dad spoiled your mom too much?
How is it spoiling to let his sick wife rest when she's not feeling well? Honestly, if that's your standard, you should never be allowed to rest when you're sick from hangovers from now on. And when you get a stomachache from eating too much, you have to keep working without taking any bathroom breaks. Because those aren't real sicknesses, you shouldn't need to rest either, right? This is basically what you've been saying to me. Do you hear how ridiculous this sounds?
The level of suffering is completely different between those things and your morning sickness.
Why would you even think that my morning sickness is not as big of a deal as those things? It's worse. I'm even suffering from anemia because my morning sickness is so bad. I'm losing so much weight that my doctor keeps warning me that I have to try to put on more weight. The numbers are showing how severe my morning sickness is, but you still think I'm lying? There are some people who get morning sickness so bad that they even have to be admitted to the hospital.
What? You could get admitted to the hospital simply for having a mere morning sickness.
Of course you could. You could also become dehydrated when your morning sickness lasts for a while. And your organs could even start dysfunctioning if it gets really bad. My doctor was warning me that at this pace, they might have to keep me at the hospital to be safe. And that's when you threw me out in the cold.
Well, I was all supposed to know that. This was meant to only be a little punishment. Nothing in common for a married couple, I'd say.
When I was already weak, you delivered the final blow by leaving me stranded in the storm for hours. Do you think my already beaten up body could take that? You think that was a little punishment? You lack imagination skills if you seriously thought that.
Well, I didn't know it was so bad.
I tried to explain to you so many times that morning sickness is different for everyone. And I tried to make you understand so many times that mine is really bad. But you never paid attention. You decided to believe in what you thought your mom went through and called me a liar and a lazy wife. I learned the hard way that you trust your mom more than you trust me.
That's not true. I didn't mean for this to happen. I just thought it's July and it's warm out and I thought you'd be fine. Never in a million years did I expect for this to cause you a serious fever.
I don't think any normal person would do anything like this to anyone, no matter what season it is. Especially to a pregnant person like myself. If anything happens to me, the baby's life could be in danger too. How do you not even know that? I'd say even a child knows better than you.
But I really didn't do this on purpose.
Enough with your excuses. My dad wants to talk to you about this whole thing.
What, he does?
He says he's going to call you later. You better answer his call. I don't think you will want to upset him more than he already is.
I'm so sorry, Heather. I was stupid. I promise that I will do all the things around the house from now on. I already did all the cleaning and the laundry. So please come home, I beg of you.
No, I'm not coming home. I prepared the divorce papers. You better sign them.
Hold on a second. I truly regret how I was behaving. I'm so sorry again for underestimating your morning sickness. I did the worst thing a husband can do.
It sounds like you finally realized how horribly wrong you were after talking to my dad. But it's way too late for any apologies now.
I grew up in a household full of men, and that made me ignorant about a woman's body. I didn't fully understand what pregnancy can do to your body. Of course, I know that you tried to tell me a few times, but I didn't really get it. But now I know that I was wrong.
Do you really understand now?
Yes, and I called my mom after your dad had the talk with me. I asked her about what her experience was like during her pregnancy, and she said her morning sickness wasn't too bad when she was pregnant with me. But apparently it was really bad when she was pregnant with my brother.
So you're saying that you had the wrong conception about pregnancy because you only heard about the part of your mom's experience and thought it's supposed to be easy?
That's correct, and now I know that I was wrong. She explained to me how hard being pregnant is.
Did you tell her about what you said to me?
Yeah, I did. And she was furious.
Of course she was.
I was ignorant. I really thought you were just using your pregnancy as an excuse to get away from your chores.
I can't believe you thought I would do that. That proves how much you don't trust me. I don't think it's possible for any couple to stay together when there's no trust between them.
I would never doubt you ever again. This experience proved to me that you are always right. I swear that I will always follow your lead from now on.
Yeah, you might say that now, but you never know when you'll go back to your old self. And you having a misconception about pregnancy is completely separate matter from you locking me out in a hurricane. You have something wrong with your moral sense if you thought it was okay to do that to me. I can be certain that you won't do something like that to our child someday. I don't want to raise a child with someone like that.
No one would ever do that to our child. You have to believe me.
Even though you didn't believe me no matter what, you've got some nerve to say that I have to believe you? How is that fair?
I don't want to break up. I've never even once considered getting a divorce.
Is that so? I would have thought you wanted to get divorced considering all the horrible things you've done to me.
No, that's not the case at all. I didn't know what to expect since everything was new to me, and I think I was kind of panicked with our first child being on the way. I know now that I was supposed to be supporting you instead of taking it out on you. I'm sorry.
I don't want a partner who panics and takes it out on his pregnant wife. I'm going to raise this child with my parents. My dad is way more reliable than you anyways. And I will not forgive you until I see that you truly learned your lesson, so you better keep apologizing forever. After that conversation, I didn't go back to our home until the day I decided to move out for good. I didn't want to see his face, so I picked a day that he's working and packed up everything with my parents. After you put everything in the car, it suddenly dawned on me it really was over, but I knew I was doing the right thing. So I decided to put my past behind me and move forward. That night, my husband called me crying, saying he's really sorry. He said he saw an empty room when he came back home and it really hit him. He wanted to tell me how much he regrets everything he did to me. But I told him off, saying that he shouldn't have done anything he'd regret to begin with. And I hung up the phone and blocked his number. After that, our baby finally arrived. Luckily, both the baby and I are healthy, and now I'm enjoying being a new mom with my parents' support. I will make sure to provide a quality life for this child and try my hardest to be a good mom. I chose to get divorced to protect the child, so I will stay strong and do this without him no matter what the cost.